One of the questions that I get asked a lot is what makes my drums any different from any other company? So what I like to do is make a couple videos, just kind of show what it is I do that make my drums unique. So first of all, this is a Keller maple shell. This is pretty much an industry standard. Most companies will use these for their drums. They're sold in tubes that are either 12 or 24 inches deep, and the 12-inch tube costs $65. So what you do is you cut that in half and you get two shells out of it. It's basically $32.50 for a snare drum shell. And then a lot of times they'll either just paint it or put a wrap on it and then buy some hardware to bolt on. They'll cut their edges and that will be their drum. There's nothing wrong with doing it like that. The drums most of the time sound good, but it's just not really my style to use pre-made shells and to buy other people's hardware. So what I like to do is I like to make my own hardware and I like to make my own shells. So my drums start as this. It is a board, a piece of lumber that is rough cut. This is walnut. You can see there's some nice little saw marks from the mill. There's some black paint or something on it. There's knots. It is just a board, nothing too special. So what I need to do is I need to get all that stuff off of it. I run it through a planer, and once they're planed, they look like this one in the middle. It's nice and smooth, no more of that crap on it. And then after that, I will cut them into thin strips, like this one. And with those strips, I cut little segments that look like this. And these are what make up most of my drums. So for a drum like this, it's a snare drum shell. It takes about 70 of those segments. So I have to cut a lot of these little guys. And once I have a bunch of those cut up, I will glue them into rings like this. And I need to make a bunch of these rings. Once those are all glued and the glue is dry on them, I need to run them through a sander to get rid of any of the leftover glue or to get rid of any bumps that are on it. So I sand them and make them perfectly flat so that when I glue all the rings together, they'll fit together nice and tight and there won't be any gaps. So it looks kind of like this. I stack up all the rings and I'm sure to line everything up so it all looks good. And I glue it together, throw it in the clamps, and wait for it to dry. Once it's dry, I take it out and I bring it over to the lathe where I will cut it round, and I'll show you that next.